Good afternoon, United American Patriots. We're here just outside of Washington, D.C., and we just wrapped up the parole hearing for First Sergeant John Hatley, and I will tell you that it seemed to go really well. It was very positive. We certainly had a lot of representation. We had 6 congressional members come in, members of Congress. They spoke very clearly, very concisely about the challenges that our warriors face, and also went into specifics about John's case. And you know, it's one of those things where when you go to a parole hearing, you're not supposed to relitigate the case. You're supposed to address the issues with the incarcerated individual and why perhaps now they'll be able to be removed from prison and brought back into society. However, what we saw is that each one of the congressmen, they addressed this case in a little bit more detail because John has refused to admit guilt. And this is usually one of the challenges that you have, is that they want to see that individual who's been found guilty, who's been incarcerated, to acknowledge having done something wrong. However, John has refused to admit doing anything wrong, and so you have to address this question. And this is where many of the congressmen, specifically Congressman Gohmert, did a great job of saying he had actually served as a JAG. He's been in the Army, and he's seen plenty of cases, and he even said, I want to go on the record and say that I've seen innocent people put in prison. And he says it hasn't just happened once, it's happened multiple times, that sometimes that happens. And it's an injustice, it's a travesty of justice. And so for a congressman to come out and say this, and he even claimed, he says, look, I'm on the record. Yeah, and the whole thing's being videotaped, so it's not like he's going to backtrack and say, no, that's not what I meant. He meant it, he was very clear about it. And he went on to say that in John's case specifically, there was zero hard evidence, no hard evidence whatsoever. You had a claim that John was responsible for the death of 4 individuals, that he summarily executed these people and kicked them into the canal. And they went into the canal, and they looked at the bodies, didn't find any bodies, didn't find any clothing, didn't find any bullets, any casing, nothing. Didn't even find any blood in the actual location where supposedly this murder took place. And so, you know, the Congress just kind of go into this and say, hold on a second. You know, there's a reason that John is saying that he refuses to accept guilt. And it's one of 2 reasons. Either he's a psychopath, he's a sociopath, where he's just in denial, or he's an amazing liar. And here's where John's gone through a whole battery of psychological tests and served 20 years honorably as a soldier in the United States Army through multiple combat tours, and made it to first sergeant. Like, you don't do that if you've got some psychological defect. It just doesn't happen. And the congressmen, you know, they all went into detail on this. But what was great is that he then said, so if he's not a psychopath, if he's not a liar, then why would he refuse to accept guilt? Because perhaps a rational argument would say, well, accept guilt and then get out of prison, because maybe you would have been out of prison, you know, 2 years ago. So, you know, why not just, you know, say, all right, fine, you know, you said I'm guilty, I admit it, let me out. And this is where the congressman said, there's another explanation. And that explanation is you're dealing with a man with impeccable integrity, meaning that he can't admit guilt for something he did not do. That would be a lie. That would be a violation of his integrity. And this is where they came out strong. They said, you're dealing with an individual that will not accept responsibility for something he didn't do. He'll accept responsibility for everything he does do, but he did not do this crime. And so people will say, well, hold on a second, then how did this come about? Well, you go into the details and you talk about these individuals who were actually, they claimed that they were not guilty, and then were found guilty and said, all right, fine, you know, don't put me away forever. You know, but how can I reduce my sentence? And they said, well, look, if you just say that John Hatley did this, that he was responsible, we'll reduce your sentence. So you had 2 guys that actually flipped, and they ended up saying, all right, yes, this crime happened, and ended up only serving 7 years in one and 8 years in another, as opposed to Hatley, who, you know, is put away for life. And, you know, now the case has been brought down some, but even still, this is just ridiculous. And for Congressman Gohmert and the rest to come out and explain in detail why this is wrong, and why it's the responsibility of this parole board to come out and try to correct this wrongdoing, was really powerful. And I'll tell you, we had two attorneys who were working this case. You had John Marr and you had Colby Volke, two seasoned attorneys who did an excellent job, who were really pushing hard, presented the information well, prepared all of the witnesses really well. You had each of the congressmen speak. You had Ricky, who's John's brother-in-law. He did a tremendous job talking about, you know, the type of family man that John is, and you know how the entire town is looking forward to welcoming John back as a hero. And you know, did an amazing job there. I was fortunate enough to speak as well on behalf of all of you, all the United American Patriots, who continue to support John, who continue to want to see him be liberated. And so, you know, I felt a tremendous sense of honor and respect for everybody here at the everybody. I couldn't have been prouder. And as I've said, there's a lot of cases that we deal with that they're challenging. That all of a sudden, people are questioning, you know, hey, what's going on in this case? John's one of those cases where we get 100% support. People don't buy it. They just don't see it. And so be able to stand up there proudly and say, look, we've been supporting John for years. We provide stipends for him in prison. You know what he uses that money for? He sends someone back to help out his family, his mother and father who are getting elderly right now. But he also spends this money to focus on himself, to develop himself, in education. He's working on getting a master's degree. He's got a plan for when he gets out. He's going to be helping society. He's going to be building a business, and he's going to be doing great things. His service to our nation is not done. So this is where we end up having, you know, a great situation of an amazing individual who's going to get out. He's going to continue to do great things. I know we're windy out here. We've got sirens. We're going to wait till the siren goes by. So anyway, it's important everybody realize John had a tremendous amount of support up there. And so again, talking on behalf of everybody out there, it was an honor. It really was. I felt privileged to be able to represent our case for John and talk about what amazing individual he is. He's going to get out. He's going to do great things. It can't be soon enough. So again, thank you so much for all your support. You know, keep praying, keep sharing, keep up your support. You'll certainly help pay for all these legal bills, and also help raise awareness to the President, to Congress, to all the rest of the public out there. I mean, we couldn't have gotten so many congressional people interested if it were not for all your support. Like, we have people who are following everything that's going on out here and keeping track of this. And these congressmen, when they came here, all of a sudden said, tell me about some of the other warriors of the deal. And we end up having, look, we got Clint Lawrence, his parole board's coming up soon. And so we've got congressmen now that want to get behind that case. So we're going to keep doing great things. And we're going to get off because I think it's probably a little bit too windy right now and too many sirens. But thank you so much. Love you all. Semper Fi. Keep doing great things. Take care.